Imagine a country trying to grow its industry at breakneck speed to lift hundreds of millions of people into prosperity. Now, imagine them trying to do that while actually healing the planet at the exact same time. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're decoding a really pivotal strategic shift, how India plans to transform its entire industrial future, basically stepping away from traditional manufacturing and fully embracing the power of biotechnology. All right, let's dive right in. So, here's the multi-trillion-dollar question facing the world right now. How exactly do you scale an economy to develop status without completely trashing the environment? Historically, economic growth has been directly tied to carbon emissions and ecological damage. So to hit net zero while growing that rapidly, well, that requires a complete reimagining of the destructive footprint of traditional manufacturing. We literally have to fundamentally shift how we make almost everything.
Think of it like this. The core solution means we have to walk away from our destructive, chemical-based industrial past. The old way relied on extracting finite resources and pumping out toxic waste. Instead, we're pivoting toward a regenerative biological future. This is a massive shift toward a circular system, a system where waste is minimized, materials are endlessly reused, and biological processes actually do the heavy lifting of manufacturing.
To really master this strategic shift, here is our roadmap for today. We'll decode the BioE3 framework, see how it bridges the gap from lab to market, look at its triple impact, analyze the roadblocks, and finally lock it all in with a quick concept revision.
Okay, Part 1, Decoding the BioE3 Framework.
So what is this exactly? Rolled out by the Ministry of Science and Technology, BioE3 is a highly focused strategic intervention. That E3 stands for economy, environment, and employment. And the ultimate goal here is fostering high-performance biomanufacturing. We're not talking about tiny lab experiments anymore. This is about creating an industrial-scale circular model where the byproducts of one single process literally become the raw materials for the next. Think of it as nature's ultimate recycling program, custom designed to break our reliance on fossil fuels. Now, I want you to pin the year 2047 in your mental framework. That represents the target year for a fully developed India. And this policy, it's the strategic vehicle meant to ensure the country meets the massive supply demands of a developed nation through biotech solutions, rather than just falling back on the old, polluting infrastructure of the 20th century.
The policy actually breaks down into 6 core themes. And it's not just a random list. It functions as a unified system. It covers everything from developing bio-based chemicals to replace toxic industrial solvents, all the way to securing our food supply with climate-resilient crops and smart proteins. It pushes the boundaries of medicine with precision biotherapeutics, and even extends into futuristic marine and space research. It is a comprehensive blueprint for utilizing biology across basically every major sector of human need.
Moving right along to Part 2, Bridging Lab to Market.
In the innovation world, there's this infamous thing called the Valley of Death. It's that dreaded gap between a successful small laboratory experiment and massive commercial manufacturing. Well, this framework tries to solve that through a step-by-step mechanism. First, you've got advanced bio-AI hubs handling the high-tech R&D. Then comes the critical step, biomanufacturing hubs. These act as the crucial bridge, allowing startups to scale up their microbes without having to spend billions of dollars building their own factories. And finally, this integration leads straight into the commercial market.
All right, let's look at Part 3, the triple impact, or the E3 in action.
Starting with the economy pillar, we are looking at a total technological disruption here. We aren't just improving factories. We're replacing them with microbial bioprocessing. We're essentially programming microorganisms to act as microscopic blue-collar workers. In agriculture, we're seeing biofortification engineering crops to pack in way more micronutrients. And in healthcare, this is driving a revolution of targeted, molecular-level therapies for incredibly complex diseases.
Then there's the environment pillar. And the crucial point here is that we're no longer just trying to reduce harm. We are actively trying to reverse it. Through bioremediation, we are literally deploying specific microorganisms to eat away and clean up oil spills and toxic industrial waste in our soil and water. We're replacing ecological toxins with biopesticides, and we're even using advanced DNA barcoding to track and protect endangered biodiversity.
Now for employment, it operates as a pretty brilliant dual-engine strategy. On one side, sure, you have high-skilled, advanced R&D jobs booming in major urban tech centers. But on the other side, the policy strategically decentralizes job creation. By pushing those biomanufacturing hubs out into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, they can directly utilize local agricultural biomass. that sparks rural economic growth and creates really high-value jobs for local communities, not just urban scientists.
But it's not all smooth sailing. Part 4. Roadblocks to biosupremacy.
Any good analysis has to look at the gaps, right? And despite the undeniable promise here, the framework faces some massive real-world hurdles. For starters, infrastructure costs for advanced biomanufacturing are astronomically high. We're also looking at a severe human capital bottleneck. There is a major talent gap in specialized biotech fields. Plus, navigating international bioregulations and ensuring absolute biosafety, that requires a flawless regulatory framework. And of course, securing the massive funding needed for these high-risk projects remains a constant pressure point.
All right, let's wrap this up and lock it in. Part 5, Final Mastery and Revision. Here's your ultimate cheat sheet, the 5 takeaways you absolutely need to remember. 1. The big goal is hitting net zero by 2047 through a circular bioeconomy. 2. The whole foundation rests on those E3 pillars: economy, environment, employment. 3. The core implementation mechanism is using biomanufacturing hubs to cross the valley of death. 4. The applications span everything from cleaning toxic waste to growing smart proteins. And 5. The critical bottlenecks to keep your eye on are talent shortages, funding gaps, and complex regulatory governance.
At the end of the day, what you should really take away from this is that transitioning from a chemical past to a biological future isn't just an environmental initiative. It is the defining strategic race of our time. The integration of bio-AI and regenerative manufacturing is the next great frontier. The nations that successfully master this framework are going to dictate the terms of global technological and economic leadership for the rest of the century. The framework is set for sure, but the ultimate question remains: can this biological revolution actually scale fast enough to save our climate before the clock runs out?